Okay. Alrighty. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the FuturePedsRes Mid-Atlantic Part 1 regional webinar for the 2024 match cycle. If you're with us for the first time, welcome. And if you've attended previous webinars, thank you for joining us again. My name is Estelle Green, my pronouns are she, her, and I am a fourth-year medical student at the Penn State College of Medicine in the UP curriculum located in the Happy Valley of State College, Pennsylvania. And I am serving as one of the co-directors for FuturePedsRes this year.
Hi everyone, my name is Denise Cruz and I'm stepping in tonight for our other wonderful co-director, Catherine Geico. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm currently a fourth year at Alabama College of Osteopathic Medicine. I am serving as the Associate Director of Webinars for FuturePedsRes this year.
We want to remind you that we'll be having our Mid-Atlantic Part 2, New England South Atlantic Part 1 webinar on Tuesday, August 22nd. And the rest of our webinars featuring residency programs from across the country will continue throughout August and September. We will drop a one-time registration link for all of our webinars in the chat, or you can also scan the QR code on the screen to sign up.
And before we start, we'd like to acknowledge our APPD faculty advisor, Dr. Michael Dell, who is the Vice Chair of Education at Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine, as well as Colleen Hughes, who serves as the Associate Executive Director for the APPD. We would also like to acknowledge our ComCEP faculty advisor, Dr. Rachel Thompson, who is the Assistant Professor of Pediatrics and Director of Pediatric Fourth-Year Medical Student Education at Boston Medical Center, Boston University Tribanian and Avedisian School of Medicine. These individuals have made tonight possible, and we are very grateful for their support.
It is now our pleasure to introduce you all to our Assistant Directors of Webinars for the Mid-Atlantic Part 1, Nicole Cox and Denise Moncada. Nicole and Denise, would you like to come off mute and introduce yourselves?
Sure, thank you. Hi, my name is Denise Moncada. My pronouns are she, her. I'm an international medical graduate from Ecuador, and I'm currently doing research in the neonatology department at Weill Cornell Medicine, and I'm serving as an Assistant Director of Webinars this year.
Hi everyone, my name is Nicole Cox. I am a third-year medical student at Edward Via College of Osteopathic Medicine. I am from New Jersey originally, and I'm so happy to be working with FuturePedsRes to bring such amazing webinars together, and I am serving as an Assistant Director of Webinars. We would also like to introduce our FPR Webinar Assistant Director working hard behind the scenes tonight, Divya. And now let's delve into our goals for the night.
Welcome to everyone joining us tonight. We are so excited to have everyone at the Mid-Atlantic Part 1 regional webinar, and we are grateful to all the program directors and assistants, as well as coordinators and residents who have taken time out to be with us tonight. Our serious goal for the regional webinars are providing pediatric residence applicants with foundational knowledge surrounding the virtual interview season, a well-rounded insight into the benefits programs by region, and a devoted time to live Q&A. We will be transitioning to our breakout room shortly. In each room, applicants will be able to learn about some of the programs and ask questions near the end. All the breakout rooms are recorded, so if you are interested in learning about other of the programs that you are not in, you can check our YouTube page for later recordings.
After that, we will move to our resident happy hour. During the resident happy hour, there will be residents and applicants in breakout rooms to connect, discuss, and get firsthand information about various programs. Please feel free to grab a beverage or snack for some fun conversations. Please note that the resident happy hour portion is not going to be recorded. Before we move on, we will have the APPD representatives of the Mid-Atlantic states, Stephen Barone and Gia Bradley, give us a quick overview of the states included in the Mid-Atlantic area. Dr. Barone, would you mind starting us off?
Sure. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. So my name's Steve Barone. I'm the Vice Chair and Program Director at Cohen Children's Medical Center, and I'm a chair of the New York, New Jersey region of APPD, and we have Gia Bradley, who's the APPD at Herman and Walter Samuel Children's Hospital at Sinai University, who is chairman of more south of us. Okay, next slide, please. So as you can see, the Mid-Atlantic region incorporates New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Next slide. So if you look at more the New York region, there are 4 programs in upstate New York, as we like to call it: Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, which is really correlates with the large metropolitan areas of upstate New York, and they each have catchment areas that really surround these different large cities. When you come down to New York Metro proper, you can see the enormous number of programs that span from northern New Jersey into New York City, across Nassau County, and Suffolk. A lot of people consider Nassau and Suffolk Long Island, but there's a great part of New York City, Queens, and Brooklyn is actually geographically on Long Island. And then you have the Manhattan programs, and the Bronx programs in yellow, and then you go a little further north, you get Westchester. And if you look at these programs, they vary in all different sizes and shapes. You have large children's hospitals, you have moderate-sized children's hospitals, you have community programs. So you have a lot of diversity in types of programs that are in the New York metro area. Next slide. Oh, I think we kind of over this is this more highlighted area of the New York metro area. And again, you can see Northern New Jersey, Westchester, the 5 boroughs of New York City proper, and the 2 counties of Long Island. Next slide, please. So again, the different types of hospitals: large children's hospitals, departments in large medical centers, and community hospitals. You have your choice of whatever type of program you're looking at. Next slide. I think one of the major highlights of training in the New York metro area is diversity. I recently returned last week from a trip to Europe, and I went through the, you get your passports stamped and etc. And on the wall it said there's 800 languages spoken in the metro area. So if you're looking for diversity, and diversity, a diverse population and the represented population, not the same things, right? A lot of people think they're synonymous, but they're different. But the real, I think, strength of the New York metro area is just diversity of patients, diversity of programs. You can certainly find something that fits your needs if that's a geographic area that you want to practice in. Next slide. Okay, so I'd like to turn it over to my co-host to try to talk about the programs more in Southern New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
Thank you very much. So again, I'm Gia Bradley. I'm Associate Program Director at Sinai Hospital, not to be confused with Mount Sinai. We are located in Baltimore, Maryland, and presented our program at an earlier webinar, but I represent the APPD's Mid-Atlantic geographic region as well. So our Mid-Atlantic APPD region encompasses programs in Southern New Jersey, Eastern Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Northern Virginia. So we're actually a part of 3 different FuturePedsRes webinars. I'm not sure what the next slide looks like for me, but I can continue to talk. Oh yeah, so these are myself and my other co-chairs, Aaron Shedlock, another Penn State person, so he is program director there, and then Jennifer Pommichter, who is at Children's National in DC. As I mentioned, these are the states for the APPD Mid-Atlantic region. Again, this evening, you'll just be hearing about New Jersey, and the rest are part of other webinars. So as you could see from the map, we are centrally located on the East Coast, a small but mighty region. Definitely very easy to get around to lots of different cities via car, train, lots of airports to get you in and out. We have big cities, beaches, mountains, just about anything you could wish for here in the Mid-Atlantic. And because we are really a hotbed of medical education. We do a lot of collaboration with one another in terms of advocacy, various networking opportunities, and participation in active chapters. We're also a big area for conferences like those with the AAP and the Pediatric Academic Society. I guess similarly to those programs in New York and just about everywhere, we have a wide range of programs. So there are some programs like the one in Philadelphia has over 50 residents per year. And my program in Baltimore is probably one of the smaller ones with just 8 residents per year. And each of those has its pros and cons. We have pediatric hospitals within hospital systems, freestanding children's hospitals. Some programs have fellowships, some do not. Our region includes the military program at the National Capital Consortium. And we have such great patient diversity here in the Mid-Atlantic region. Unique populations, urban, rural, and as mentioned, we do a lot of focus on advocacy and regional health disparities. So a great region to be from and to train and work in. I think we already talked about that. Maybe you went backwards. All right, well, thank you.
But just one comment, just to clarify. So the APPD, the program directors have regions, and ERIS has regions, and they're not the same. So if you get a little confusion about that, G is part of 3 ERIS regions, but she's only part of 1 APPD region. So don't get too confused about that. Just think we stretch from New York down to Virginia. Am I right, Gia? Or you go further south in Virginia?
No, just to Virginia.
Okay, so that's really what you need to remember. All right, thanks.
Thank you both for highlighting the additional qualities of the Mid-Atlantic regions. I want to introduce our participating programs for tonight. So attendees, please take a moment to pull out your phone and snap a picture of the screens you can easily refer back to when bouncing around breakout rooms. This slide will also remain shared in the main room during the entire webinar. We will now be going into our breakout rooms. Throughout the webinar, you can ask questions using the chat box on Zoom. You can also amplify insights or things you've learned from the webinar on Twitter using hashtag FPRWebinar and hashtag PedsMatch2024. Afterwards, our amazing program director panel will log off and our resident panel will join us from 8 to 8:30 Central Time and 9 to 9:30 Eastern Time to share their experiences and answer any questions from the audience. So now we will give everyone a few minutes to join their respective rooms. Okay, so as we wait for attendees to keep joining, I'd like to remind the program representatives to please add your institution or program affiliation to your Zoom display name. And then I would also like to offer our attendees some guidance with navigating between the breakout rooms. So to join a breakout room, select breakout room and then join the breakout room of your choice. If you want to return to the main room, just leave the room and then press leave breakout room. Okay, so we can get started. Welcome everyone to Breakout Room 1. My name is Nicole Cox. I am a 3rd year medical student at Edward via College of Osteopathic Medicine. I was born and raised in New Jersey, so I'm super excited to be your moderator this evening.
Hi everyone, my name is Andrea Quintero-Reese. I'm a recent graduate from American University of Antigua. I'm also a New Jersey native, so I am going to enjoy my time here today for sure. And I am very excited to be helping out Nicole behind the scenes today.
Okay, so I would like to invite our program representatives to give a short presentation about their programs for 5 minutes for the first part of our evening, and then we will take questions after all of the presentations. Attendees, you can leave your questions in the chat as we go. We also encourage the programs to make use of the chat to answer any questions if they can in case we run out of time. To ensure that all programs are adequately represented, each presentation is limited to 5 minutes. I'm going to set a timer for 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So when you hear this noise, that will signify that you have 30 seconds remaining. Okay, so let's get started. Our first program of the evening is Rutgers Robert Wood Johnson Medical School Pediatrics Residency Program. I would like to invite your representative to unmute and tell us about your program.
Great, thank you so much. My name is Dr. Joanne Carlson, and I am Program Director at Rutgers. I am zooming in from Virginia Beach, where I am on vacation with my family, so hopefully we won't have any children distracting us. But I'm really excited to tell you about our program today. We are a medium-sized program with 33 residents per year in the heart of New Brunswick. We are an academic residency program associated with Rutgers Robert Wood Johnson. Our primary clinical site for our residents is the Bristol Myers Squibb Children's Hospital, which is a free-leaning 105-bed hospital. We have a level 1 trauma center, a level 4 NICU, and ECMO capabilities in both ICUs. We have all the pediatric subspecialties here and a predominantly referral center for the area. And there are really very few reasons why we transfer patients out. Next door to us is Children's Specialized Hospital, one of the largest rehab facilities for kids in the country. This is really an incredible place that's not only wonderful for our patients, but also for our residents to be able to spend time both on the floors and during electives. So 2 of our biggest priorities of the program are diversity and wellness. We have multiple organizations to help support URM residents across all of GME. Additionally, we have a diversity series during our case conferences led by one of our ED physicians. This includes a wide range of speakers as well as workshops where residents can talk in small groups. We are also developing a new rotation for URM medical students in the next few months. On the wellness side, we have one of our general pediatricians that serves as our wellness champion. And with her help, we have 6 wellness sessions planned throughout the year that is part of the resident protected educational time. That's basically free time just for them to do whatever they want and work on their own wellness. We also have wellness speakers and extra support staff, including social work and psychiatry, who meet with the residents, as well as the Residents Assistance Program that provides counseling services for anyone who needs it. One of the exciting developments of our program is that in the last year, we adopted the X+Y curriculum in a 3+1 model. We are officially part of the ACGME pilot. This change was made with our resident support and really wanting to strengthen our primary care experience. During their Y week, residents have around 5 continuity clinics. They have advocacy time, research, as well as admin time. PGY1s do their development clinic as part of their Y week. After about 1 year of this curriculum, I can tell you the feedback has really been phenomenal. Residents really appreciate the more balanced schedule, the better continuity experience, as well as some priceless free time. So next, I want to tell you one of my favorite things of the program, and it's certainly the people. We have an amazing group of residents who are hardworking and dedicated and really supportive of one another. Each residency class really impresses me how they always come together, plan events outside of work, and get involved in both in the hospital as well as the program committees. The residents really make our jobs here worthwhile. We have a lot of great traditions in our program where the resident gets to spend time together, including faculty resident mixers, residents' day off, as well as biannual retreats. Additionally, we have a wonderful group of faculty that are really supportive, great teachers, and really excited to mentor the residents and help them on the path to their future. With their support, our residents are really able to flourish during residency and after. The newest thing in our program this year is that we're developing tracks for residents. So we're starting with research and education and also creating an advocacy one to be debuted later in the year. We're really excited to give the residents this opportunity to focus on areas that interest them. And then finally, we're really proud of what our residents do after residency. About 50% enter Gen Peds and 50% will join a subspecialty. We have been so impressed with our fellowship matches. In the last couple of years, we've had resident match at amazing places across the country, including Cincinnati Children's for GI and Rainbow Babies for sports medicine. I'm always happy to talk more about this program. I think I made it right before the bell. So I am excited, but please contact me at any point if you have any questions. I'll put my email in the chat, and always happy to talk to anyone, and hope to answer some more questions soon. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you so much for leading this webinar.
Thank you for sharing about your program. Our next program is Goryeb Children's Hospital. I would like to invite your representative to unmute and tell us about your program.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Ty Winters. I am the program director at Goryeb Children's Hospital in wonderful Morristown, New Jersey, which is a bedroom suburban community of New York City. For those of you who don't know, it's probably about a good 45-minute train ride, but a lot of our residents and faculty live anywhere in between from northern New Jersey all the way to going into the city, so around Jersey City or Hoboken. I actually live right in between in an area called Montclair, for those of you who are familiar, so you can easily commute back and forth into the city. But to tell you more about our children's hospital, we are a freestanding children's hospital that is attached to our medical center, which is Morristown Medical Center. Our hospital was built in 2003. It is currently a 36-bed children's hospital with also a 15-bed NICU. I'm sorry, PICU, as well as a 60-bed NICU, which we are expanding, and we are super excited about how our facilities are changing. Right now, we are expanding not only our day hospital, but our pediatric emergency department as well. We do also have a branch campus or satellite campus that we have at Overlook Medical Center, which is in Summit, New Jersey, roughly about a 17-minute drive away from the Goryeb main campus, or a 12-minute drive if you drive like me. I'm originally from Detroit. And that hosts right now our hybrid unit, which is a very unique unit that there's only a few in the country that has. This includes a pediatric emergency department that is attached right next to our pediatric inpatient unit at Overlook Medical Center. It's called our Hirsch Center. It has a 8-bed ED with a 9-bed inpatient unit as well. And so with that regards, we're able to see the intersectionality of both and being able to have a seamless transition from being in the emergency department into our inpatient unit. So it really allows for there to be a lot of teamwork and allows for our residents to be able to see that transition. We really get rave reviews, and actually we just had Joint Commission that just came out to evaluate and gave us rave reviews about that. So it's a great learning experience. But in addition to that, we are a medium-sized program. We have 36 residents total, so 12 per year. Our residents come from all over the world, but we do have a strong amount of residents that come from the tri-state area, which includes New Jersey, New York, as well as Pennsylvania. We have our academic affiliation with Thomas Jefferson Sidney Kimball Medical College, which actually has a branch campus at our actual institution, as well as Rowan University School of Osteopathic Medicine. We are super excited for all of the tracks that we have currently in place for our residents. So what that includes is not only having a track that's focused in on diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as advocacy, but we also have a robust global health track, which we have relationships not only within Haiti, but also with Honduras and other countries that includes Guinea as well as Ghana. Once you have completed this track, you're eligible to be able to get a certificate once you graduate. We just also had our second cohort that is currently being installed for our medical education track. And so this track is focused in being able to increase awareness not only of academic medicine, but also to be able to provide diverse populations when we're thinking about diversifying the face of medicine. We also have unique tracks as well in curricula that also includes osteopathic medicine. So being able to expand upon our knowledge of osteopathic principles and practice, not only for our osteopathic residents, but also our allopathic residents. So you can learn more about OMM if you come to our program. And wow, that was a fast one. All right, 30 seconds left to go. Really want to say we have a great program. Please check us out. I'll put my email in the chat. And if you have any other questions, we would love to speak with you. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Winters, for sharing. Our next program is Hackensack Meridian Health Jersey Shore University Medical Center. I would like to invite your representative to unmute and tell us about your program.
Hi, everyone. My name is Taylor Olean. I am the newest Associate Program Director and Pediatric Hospitalist at Jersey Shore. I am a 2022 graduate of the residency program, and I have Dr. Kate Beckwith, our other APD, on the line, but I'm going to start out. So we are the #1 children's hospital in New Jersey, and we have the largest pediatric residency program in that institution. We share that title with our sister hospital that you'll learn about later, Joseph Sanzari Children's Hospital. We are a level 1 trauma institution and level 2 pediatric, and we get very busy in the summer with all of our visitors that come to the Jersey Shore for their beach vacations. We have 45 inpatient beds for our pediatric floors, 35 beds in our NICU, and a 10-bed PICU. We are a referral center for many of the Hackensack community hospitals in the area, and our residents gain experience taking transfer calls from these institutions with the support of their attendings. We value mentorship, so all interns are paired with a mentor that helps them throughout their first year, and in the second year, they're paired with a career mentor that helps them while they're trying to figure out where they would like to apply for fellowships or for jobs. In the last year, we've had a 100% fellowship match rate with residents matching across the country, Tennessee, Philadelphia, in very impressive programs. We also have an intern boot camp that helps our first-year residents transition to residency, and we focus the month in July of helping support them as they make this transition. Wellness is a big thing at Jersey Shore, and we pride ourselves on all of our wellness initiatives. We have social chairs that help plan activities outside of the hospital, but also help plan our monthly wellness activities during our protected resident lecture time. These have included baby gender announcements, baby showers, tie-dyeing, going to the ice cream shop across the street. So we really value getting together and spending time away from the medical field. My class also did family dinners, and there's many opportunities to get together outside of work. If we had to say 3 words that described our program, it would be a family, supportive, and mentorship. And I truly believe, as the other PDs have said, people are what make each institution different. And the reason I stayed on was because of the people I interacted with. I call them my family, and I wasn't ready to leave yet. So some of our curricular things, we are a block schedule. We have 13 blocks, and we allow our residents to have significant flexibility in choosing their electives based on ACGME requirements. Our beautiful Hope Tower subspecialty building is where most of our subspecialists practice, which is adjacent to the hospital. And we have a strong simulation center, and we do 4 simulation events throughout the year. There is moonlighting opportunities available for our senior residents to moonlight in our NICU or go on NICU transport, and we have a lot of mentoring and research opportunities. We have 10 categorical residents each year with 2 child neurology, and our first child neurology resident has entered her PGY3 year. It is a 5-year program. We are affiliated with Hackensack Meridian School of Medicine and St. George University, and our residents have many opportunities to teach those students on the floors, for lectures, and other opportunities. Our location is one of the great things about Jersey Shore is we can be 8 blocks from the beach, or a close drive to Philly, or a train ride to New York City. We're in a great location with many different things to do. So I'll ask Dr. Kate if she has anything to add, but we're very excited to meet you all and read all of your applications.
Hi, everybody. My camera is not working for some reason, but the Jersey Shore program is absolutely amazing. We look forward to talking to all of you. Please let us know if you're interested, and we'll put all of our emails in the chat.
Okay, thank you so much. Our next program is Hackensack University Medical Center Pediatrics. I would like to invite your representative to unmute and tell us about your program.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So I'm Dr. Andy Reyes, and just like Taylor was just mentioning, we are a sister program with the Jersey Shore program under the Hackensack University Medical Center umbrella. I am one of the two associate program directors for this year. Also a recent graduate from the program. I did the 3 years and then a chief year, and then loved it so much that I stayed on staff. So just a little bit, and I think we have our other associate program director, Dr. Clauser, on, just in case if there are any other questions or anything. A little bit about the program. So we are a smaller program. We have 24 residents total. So that's 8 per resident year. And we have a 48-bed NICU, 15-bed PICU, and about 28 general pediatric beds, but we often cover other units as well when you're on your general pediatrics rotation. We also, like the Jersey Shore is mentioning, we have 13 blocks, and we do not have an X+Y system. Our continuity clinic is essentially built into a certain day of the week, and for the entire year, essentially, you have that one day of the week where our residents seem to like it because they feel that their patients know that they can, like, if you're a Monday person, they can come on Mondays and follow up with you, and so that usually works nicely for longer term kind of follow up with the residents and their patients. In terms of our wellness, so we do have a wellness committee that was started like 2 years ago. Our program is not that old. It's in its infancy, maybe teenage years. It's in its 6th year now. And the wellness committee was started by residents for residents, and we have an Instagram page where we kind of post a lot of the events that include a lot of the, again, similar things like Taylor was mentioning. So celebrations for when people are having like a gender reveal or some like big life event, something like that is pretty common, I would say about once a month. We also have like a cake day, which is like a academic half day, and every month our program director usually brings in whatever cake the team usually chooses for that month. So it keeps everyone excited that they're gonna get their choice that month of what to have. We are starting a diversity committee to address some more systemic issues across the United States and what we could do as an institution to help improve diversity. So there's been a lot of support, and we're drumming up a lot of interest around that. In terms of our graduates, so about 65% of them move on to fellowship, and about 35% of them stay in general pediatrics. We do have a lot of involvement with the community as well. It's actually built into the schedule. So in the 2nd and 3rd years, we have a rotation that's just dedicated to community outreach, where we go and volunteer at different community events. Recently, we did like a vaping class at one of the schools. We do talk about like safe sex practices and just kind of disseminating information in the community and participating at community events. More than half of our residents are either published in research or have the ability to present at regional and national meetings, and that is usually all paid for. So there's lots of ways that people can get involved and be compensated for it. The other thing that you're compensated for is you do about 30 seconds. You do get a stipend that you can use to buy to help towards buying a laptop. You get $265 for meals in the month. And so usually these things have all come about after resident feedback. And again, I think the feedback that we get is like taken seriously so that we can continue to improve our program. So I could go on and on all day, but thank you guys for kind of setting this up and allowing us to tell you a little bit about our program. And I hope you enjoy the resident talk a little bit later.
Thank you so much for that presentation on your program. Our next program is St. Joseph's University Medical Center. I would like to invite your representative to unmute and tell us about your program.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Chuang. I'm the PD at St. Joe's. It's good to see a lot of familiar faces on the line. One thing that's really nice about New Jersey is that we're all really close-knit. We're all part of the New Jersey chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics. Thanks, Ty. And the programs have also been all connected together through NJPRAC, the New Jersey Pediatric Residency Advocacy Coalition. So wherever you go in Jersey, I think it's safe to say that we're all family. I'm a total Jersey girl, born and raised in New Jersey. And my background is that I'm an adolescent medicine physician. We do have some of our residents on the line, so stick around and you'll get to meet a bunch of them during the, I guess, the late happy hour, it sounds like. So we're located in Paterson, New Jersey. And even though New Jersey is a small state, even if you just drive like 20 minutes in one direction, you'll find yourself in a completely different neighborhood. So Paterson is the third largest city in New Jersey. It's quite an urban area. There's a lot of interesting history in Paterson, so you can definitely find it a lot in the history books, the movies, and music. It definitely has a very rich background. We're a very global city, so I'm told that there are over 75 languages and dialects spoken in our city and in our hospital. I certainly wish that I spoke more languages, but many languages are spoken in our community, and that's also reflected amongst the staff that we have in our hospital as well. We fortunately have a very multilingual staff. And we're located in northern New Jersey. So if you're familiar with our highways, we're off of I-80, about 15 minutes from New York City on a good traffic day. We're a city with a lot of health disparities. It's quite an under-resourced area, and about 80% of our clinic population has New Jersey Medicaid, and 10% of our patients have charity care. So every day that we're at work, we're doing a lot for our patients. We know that our patients really need a lot of help economically and socially. And so our residents have really helped our patients to really break through a lot of barriers. So our children's hospital is embedded within the larger hospital at St. Joe's. We're considered one of the oldest children's hospitals in New Jersey. We have a 36-bed inpatient floor service with a 12-bed pediatric ICU. 6 of those beds are in the full PICU setting, and 6 of those beds are in the step-down setting. We also have a 30-bed level 3 NICU, and as well as a full-term nursery as well. We have all of the major pediatric subspecialties at St. Joseph's, and like many of the surrounding programs, we have very close mentorship between the residents and the faculty, because we don't have any fellowships within our program. So that means that they get really, really close communication between residents and faculty. We are also a teaching site for 3 medical schools. So Rowan University School of Osteopathic Medicine, UNI, which is University of New England College of Osteopathic Medicine, and SGU, St. George's University. And we have 12 residents per year, so a total of 36 residents. Our residents come from all over the world, and go to our brand new Instagram site. You'll get to see who our residents are. The far majority of our residents are international medical graduates, and many of them are also from the tri-state area as well. I know I'm running low on time, but we look forward to seeing your applications and speaking with you during interviews and learning more about each other during the interview season. I'll put my email in the chat.
Thank you so much for that great presentation about your program. Our last program is Cooper Medical School of Rowan University. I would like to invite your representative to unmute and tell us about your program.
Hi, my name is Bill Gressley. I'm the program director at Cooper. We are located in Camden, which is right across the river from Philadelphia. We are a regional hospital. So although we admit patients from Camden, we also admit from the southern third of the state. We are also a safety net hospital, and as many programs have talked about, we have a great diversity of patients, including a number of special populations. We have 10 residents per year, 2 of those in a primary care track. We are affiliated with our medical school, Cooper Medical School of Rowan University. That is a 4-year school that is now 11 years old, with a state-of-the-art sim center that we have access to that we use for a number of different simulation exercises. Our major strengths are the size of our program really allows for a lot of autonomy of our residents. Our residents run all of the inpatient units, and the faculty interaction with the residents really allows for a lot of autonomy. All of the inpatient rotations are done at Cooper at the primary hospital. Our subspecialty rotations and electives are also primarily done at Cooper, with some of them also done with Nemours down in Delaware. About a third of our residents end up doing a fellowship after residency. The rest go into general pediatrics. We are a level 1 trauma center, see more pediatric trauma than any other hospital in this area. And that is a service that we co-manage with the trauma surgeons and the orthopedic surgeons. We also have a psychiatry inpatient service that is very active, and our residents get education in mental health on both the inpatient and outpatient side with our pediatric, with our child psychiatrists. We have a newly renovated clinic and a hospital that is about to undergo a major renovation, with pediatrics being in the first building. So we expect new inpatient facilities in the next 3 years. As far as our curriculum, we have a case-based curriculum that runs over a 2-year cycle, structured reading and quizzes. We do a lot of our conferences in small groups and focused on cases, monthly journal clubs, monthly board review that we do in the evenings on WebEx, monthly quizzes that we do at the end of each month that are in a Jeopardy format to reinforce topics, monthly simulation for the floor and the PICU, and quarterly simulation with the ED. And we have regular conferences with our faculty, including pediatric surgery and pediatric radiology. Our community health and population health division of throughout Cooper has a number of outreach projects, and our residents are involved in those. And just a few perks that I wanted to mention. Our hospital offers free parking, a $3,000 educational stipend. We now have a Starbucks. In addition to the 4 weeks vacation and holiday blocks that residents get at the end of intern year, all of our interns go on a vacation together in between first year and second year. We have access to public transportation to both Philadelphia and the suburbs. About half of our residents live on either side of the river, and there are a number of communities where you can live in either direction. A number of wellness events that Cooper does as an institution, including events for all residents, soccer, basketball, events such as going to the battleship and having happy hours. All of our PGY1 residents participate in group sessions with our employee assistance program. We do 2 wellness days, 2 program-wide retreats, and a peer support program for faculty and for residents who have undergone medical errors or patient safety events. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you to all the amazing programs here tonight and for sharing information about your hospitals and residency programs. That concludes the program overview portion of the evening. And now we will open up the floor for a live Q&A. Feel free to unmute and ask your questions or send them in the chat. And if you would prefer to remain anonymous, please feel free to send me a personal message and I will address the question to your program representative.
Hello, I have a question. My name is Angela, and I'm an IMG candidate, raised in New Jersey. And I was wondering, as you look through all of the applications you get, and this is for any of the program coordinators, what are some of the characteristics that you look for when you decide who to offer one of the limited interview slots to, or the main characteristic that may call your attention?
Okay, I'll go. I'm sure all of my other colleagues and just like Jennifer said, we all interact with each other all the time. So I think that it's great to be able to see everyone, first of all. But to answer your question, I think the number one thing that I'm looking for when determining someone who to pick for interviews is first, I set very few parameters to be able to quote unquote weed out anyone. I view all of the board pass rates for either STEP or COMLEX as pass or fail. So it doesn't matter if you have a numerical score for STEP 2 or not. And that's kind of what our organization, APPD, recommends. I do take into consideration whether or not someone has recently graduated versus if they have graduated and it's been longer than about 3 to 5 years. Then that may be, I want to see what other clinical work has been done. I also like to see how you did within your clerkships and letters. That's very helpful to me, but I think we try to take a very holistic review. And I think this is something that all of my colleagues will say that we do, and it's very true. We really do. PEDS is amazing because of that. We really want to take a look to see how you would be and how best you would serve and how we can serve you. So I'll let my colleagues.
Thanks, Ty, for taking the lead on that, because as I was thinking about it. As Dr. Winters said, we're encouraged to take a holistic review of the application and not automatically set any filters. It does mean that we take longer to go through the applications. Last year was my first year as a program director, so I'm not as seasoned as some of the others on the call. But the things that had stuck out to me when I was reviewing applications, I like to see the activities. We all know the same courses that everybody needs to take, but I like to see what kind of stands out to show me who you are from a personal standpoint. Those things can come out with your activities, your personal statements, and sometimes in the descriptions in the letters or recommendation as well. Certainly helps to have a letter writer who knows you very well, rather than someone who has like a standard form letter. I do find that the MSPE also helpful because it does tell you about how you did compared to your peers in the same class as well.
I can go. So I think it's a great question. And one thing that our program always has said is that we try to look for people with good hearts, because you can't really teach that. And you can learn the medicine, but it's really difficult to teach somebody to have passion and good heart. And so sometimes that comes through in various different ways, some of which has already been mentioned, like in your letters. There's like certain wording that people will use that can that'll shine through a little bit. Also in things like the your personal statements, things like that. So those things all kind of will help. And then I think, like someone already mentioned, if you have been out of school for a bit, then I think it'll be really helpful to have like good clinical experience in the recent years. So yeah, again, we read through like all of that stuff as well, so that we make sure that we're offering interviews to people who are viewed in a more holistic way.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your answers.
Okay, so I had a question that was directed towards the Jersey Shore University program, but everyone else can also chime in. It is asking, what is the percentage of graduates that go on to fellowship versus general peds?
Sure, great question. So each year is different. So last year we had 5 of our 9 residents go to fellowship. And I'd say over the last couple of years, that's about how it breaks down, with about half going to fellowship and the other half primary care. But the last few years, we've had 100% match rate with our fellowships.
At St. Joe's, we average about 50-50 primary care and going into fellowships. We like to think that we train people well for all types of career paths, although we do kind of have an internal drive to want to make strong primary care physicians in our program. Last year, our graduates who went on to fellowship included HEMONC at WashU in St. Louis, Peds Cardiology at UT Houston, and 2 went into NICU fellowship, Montefiore and University of Florida. Our current third-year class, the far majority of them are actually applying to fellowship, so it does apply. It does depend on the year.
Okay, thank you. I see we have a hand raised, so if you would like, you can unmute and ask your question.
Thank you to all the PDs for taking up the time to talk to us. Hi, I'm Bushra Mani. I'm a IMD from Pakistan. I live in New Jersey, so I will be geo-preferencing. My question is, Dr. Winters talked about signaling. So this is basically for all the PDs. Would you say that I should signal to the programs individually in addition to the geo-preferencing, or just the geo-preferencing is good? And then another question I had was about, are there any global health opportunities at your programs? I also heard a few PDs talk about rotations, elective rotations, and I'd like to know more. Thank you.
So I would say, just to answer that question about signaling, if there is a specific program, because you only have a handful of signals, right? So if there is a specific program that you are seriously interested in, by all means, I would definitely say to signal, but geopreferencing does help. Just to let everyone know, the way that we are advised to view signaling or geopreferencing is literally to help us with determining interviews. It should not be used to determine whether or not one would be ranked or not. Once that is done, then we do away with that process. But I would definitely tell you that although, and last year was the first year that we had signaling for peds, and we did, I would always say it this way, because most of the Jersey programs, as you probably have figured out, are either small or medium-sized programs. So for us, signaling does help us with being able to determine whether or not there is someone, if we're kind of torn between 2 or 3 candidates, like, oh yeah, this helps, but it's not our end-all be-all. For larger programs or programs at your home institution, so a lot of us had made mention of different schools like SGU, Rowan, and other universities. For those schools, if they're our home institution, we tend to offer, of course, Hackensack, I'm sorry, or I don't even have to mention, I know you guys will mention this about yourselves, I apologize. The only reason why I bring that up is by saying you don't want to, quote unquote, waste your signaling if we know you have some interest in it. So save those. Geopreferencing does help. But if you're like in California right now and did all of your schooling in California and you're really interested in New Jersey and we can't necessarily see that right away, those things do help, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you.
And I would just add to that, that I think in that case, the last example, that signaling helps more than the geographic preference, because that region is so large. And, are you specifically interested in the area where the program is? I think that the signaling is more helpful.
To answer the part of your question about the global health, so at St. Joe's, we don't have a specific global health program that is automatically set up for you to go to, but all the residents have an opportunity to do an away rotation for a month where they're call free. They can go anywhere they want as long as they set it up beforehand. And once that paperwork is all approved, they're welcome to go anywhere in the country or globally that they wish to go to. So during the height of the pandemic, that was, of course, more challenging, but as more opportunities opened up, many of our residents have taken those opportunities to do rotations out of state. But you are welcome to go globally as well.
Thank you.
I had a quick
At
question.
Hackensack, oh, sorry.
No, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna add that at Hackensack, we do have a global health elective. And then there is a component of it that is like you can do via modules. Similarly to St. Joe's, we allow people to just choose their own location. So I, for example, as a resident, had connected with a hospital in Brazil and was had everything set up to go there because our GME office has already approved global travel. But then like COVID happened, and so that was basically the only thing that held it back. And so it's been a little bit slow to get back, in full swing, but the option is there.
Thank you, Dr. Reyes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Icahn. I introduced myself earlier. I'm part of the FBR team. I actually just had a quick question for all of the programs. It's pertaining to the underrepresented in medicine. I was just wondering if there's any experiences or training offered to residents to address maybe certain biases that they may have, and how does your program support residents and faculty who are underrepresented in medicine? I know some of the programs talked about their diversity.
I guess I'll jump in. I think with the diversity of the residents that we have, I think they feel like within our hospital they are not underrepresented, but there is the realization that kind of in the bigger picture of medicine, the majority of our residents are URIM. So we have had some residents who have taken advantage of applying to some of the some courses or some structured programs outside of St. Joe's, but within our hospital, we also have some formalized training for underrepresented physicians in medicine as well. And also we've been having some trainings in regards to understanding unconscious biases for all levels of staff in the hospital, from attending level down to all levels of the hospital. So it's always an ongoing recognition and effort in our hospital. I do think that the mentorship within our program is very important as we try to establish what goals our residents have for their careers and any barriers that they might face, especially if they're URIM.
For us, in addition to having our visiting minority clerkship program, we also have implemented in our Department of Pediatrics the first ever diversity officer for the Department of Pediatrics, which is me. And in that regards, we've actually been able to do a lot of work. I have led multiple national concerted efforts for DEIA work. So this also includes, we have changed our entire structure of didactics from graduate medical education, undergraduate medical education, all the way up to continuing medical education that must require some form of effort of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it's not just an asterisk, it must be embedded in everything that you do across the entire board. And we did that on purpose because we wanted to make sure that not only are we creating a platform for us to be able to see continued diversification of medicine itself, but we also want to make sure that we are creating a very supportive ground for once we are able to have more of our applicants that are, or more of our residents that are coming in that are diverse and faculty that are diverse, to also feel supported and included. And it's not just one of the things where we bring you in, but you don't have that inclusion. And this doesn't only include looking at for cultural backgrounds, but this is also including for our SOGI individuals, so our sexual minorities, our gender minorities. We are looking at this from a whole global lens. And so we continue to do that work from the ground up. So not only looking at it from training, but we're also looking at that from our faculty and making sure that that's all provided.
And at Hackensack, so I touched upon it a little bit earlier, but full disclosure, there was like a small event that we had last year that was a little bit uncomfortable. And so I was super happy with like how our program mobilized not only resident kind of support and but also faculty support around that. And so we've got a new chair of education. We're starting again a new committee, because rather than just kind of impose new ideas and changes that we think would probably help with diversity and inclusion in our residency program, we really want to hear what the residents think is going to be the most impactful. So whether it's restructuring how we do our didactics, whether it's addressing how we're reviewing applications systemically, and then I think one of my favorite things that came out of this meeting was that one of the residents said, I'm going to join the committee and I'm going to look for follow through. And the faculty members were like, good, please hold us accountable. So I am like super excited about the kind of symbiotic relationship that we're forming around this topic.
Thank you, everyone. So that marks the end of our Q&A portion of the evening. So hopefully everyone got a chance to learn a bit more about our Mid-Atlantic programs. We want to repeat how grateful we are to all the program directors, coordinators, and other representatives that took the time to join us tonight. We will now request that our program representatives kindly log off so we can transition to our residency panel portion of the evening. And then students and other participants, we ask that you stay on if you have any questions for the wonderful residents here tonight.
Welcome everyone to room 2. My name is Sheena Bedi. I am an intern at DY Patil Medical College, India, and I am an assistant director of webinars at FPR this year, and I have the honor to be a moderator tonight. I would also like to introduce you to Denise Cruz. She is a she's a MS4 at Alabama College of Osteopathic Medicine, and she is our associate director of webinars for FPR this year. I would like to invite our program representatives to please give a short presentation of their programs for 5 minutes for the first part of the evening, and then we'll be taking questions after all of the presentations. Attendees, you can however leave your questions in the chat as we go. We also encourage programs to make use of the chat to answer any questions they have in case we run out of time. To ensure that all the programs are adequately represented, each presentation is limited to 5 minutes. And when you hear my timer go off, it kind of sounds like this. It will signify that you have 30 seconds to wrap up your thoughts. Our first program for the evening is University of Rochester. I would like to invite your program representative to please unmute themselves and tell us all about your program.
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Sheena. My name is Karen Gellin. I'm the program director at the University of Rochester. It's great to see you all here this evening. There's lots of information on this slide, and so I'm going to try and take the next 4.5 minutes to tell you some big highlights. I think when you think about what you heard about our region in general, many people are at this because they have an interest in the tri-state area. We are not tri-state area. We are upstate New York. And so what does that mean? That means things like, you can get a huge amount of patient diversity, just like you can actually in the metro area, because I think people are surprised by how much diversity there is in the upstate area. But you can also go from beach to mountain to, kind of doing things in the snow. We do have snow. To doing things in the snow, to seeing a Broadway show, to doing all of those things in between. And so it really is a great place to live, not just a great place to work. It's also a place that commute is usually, people in Rochester will say you can get anywhere in 20 minutes. So it really is when people ask me how do you describe Rochester, I like to say it's an easy place to live. And then when it comes to our program, I think some of the big key strengths of our program, first of all, you will spend time both at Golisano Children's Hospital, which is a quaternary, really neonatal pediatric place where you will really see a lot of, kind of some of those things that you'll never see again probably in your career after residency, but you'll also get a lot of bread and butter. You will also spend some time at a community hospital that's 15 minutes away from the Children's Hospital. And so you will get experience understanding what does it mean to take care of kids in a place where there aren't subspecialists right at hand. When do you need to think about transfer of care? And even though you're at 2 different hospitals and 2 different healthcare systems, it actually is one system of care for pediatrics in Rochester, which is a pretty unique feature to have really anywhere in the country. We have lots of options to really customize your program to make it something that addresses the things that are important to you and your career. You can see in that second bullet point all of the different types of tracks that we have. We're really proud of our curriculum that really produces residents who can do whatever they want to do after training. And when we look at our graduates over the past 10 years, about half of our residents go into fellowship and about half of our residents go into primary care And that's been pretty steady. And I really think that's because of the balance of the education that you get within our program. And of course, I think another thing I'm really proud of, especially over the past 3 to 4 years or so, we've put a lot of effort into not just giving talk around diversity, but to really have an anti-racism action plan in particular that every year we build on. And so it's been something that we've really moved our program forward, I think, in thinking about that and not just relying on our patient diversity, but really thinking about other ways that we create an inclusive environment, that we think about recruitment in a different holistic way, and that we think about how to support residents once we are able to recruit residents who come from underrepresented backgrounds. So obviously, I'm a biased program director. I think our program is great, but I can tell you, I know these many of these other program directors, and the good news is in pediatrics, you have lots of great programs to choose from. And so if your desire is to go to a medium-sized program with a great balance of training and an easy living, Rochester certainly may be the place for you. I even beat Sheena's very pleasant buzzer.
Thank you so much for telling us all about your program. It was very insightful. And the next program of the evening is Stony Brook Children's Pediatric Residency Program. I would request your representative to please unmute themselves and tell us all that it has to offer.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having us. I'm Robin Blair. I'm the PEDS Program Director at Stony Brook Children's, which is on Long Island in Suffolk County. So we're sort of, if you look at Long Island, about at the midway point. I trained here myself, both as a medical student and a resident. And I did leave for a year to go into private practice and quickly came back. I became the Associate Program Director in 2006 and the Program Director in 2010. And anybody that talks to me or knows me knows I love my job. And I also love it here at Stony Brook. I think we have an awesome group of residents and they're fun to work with. We have some really great camaraderie and everybody typically comments they feel quite at home here. And that's what makes me personally happy coming to work each day. I think our faculty are pretty dedicated to teaching. They spend a significant portion of their time teaching and engaging in our residency and fellowship training programs. And I'm always interested in hearing what residents have to say about all different aspects of the program. We do lots of talking and collaborating to try to make improvements. So those are some of the things that I love about Stony Brook, but our residency recruitment committee has asked me to share a bunch of things with you. So some of the things that they want you to know about our program include our focus on wellness initiatives. And we do that in so many different layers, but a couple examples include, professional identity formation, organized fun events, such as attending versus resident volleyball games, kayaking. One of our residents is a surfer and did some surfing lessons. We have some DEI mixers with some potluck at the home of one of our associate program directors. We've done midnight bowling in the day though. And we even did a superhero field day in the past spring. Our training program also serves a really diverse patient population. And we have broad range of pathology. So just as you heard from Rochester, you're going to see the typical bread and butter, and then you're going to see the zebras that you read about and maybe don't see again, except maybe on your boards, or at least think about and consider when you're taking care of a complex patient. So you'll be really prepared to enter any career path after residency training. During your continuity clinic, which is where I spend some of my time, I supervise residents in clinic, that's where I was today. And you'll have the opportunity to really get to know the unique diversity in the particular community that's surrounding your continuity clinic. And when I say diversity, I mean socioeconomic status, ethnicity, cultural background, etc. Our residents, faculty, and staff are also quite diverse, and they come from a variety of backgrounds, speak many different languages, and represent many different cultures, which makes it fun going to the DEI mixer, because lots of different food groups are represented there. Our DEI committee is quite involved. And that really started, I would say, in 2020. So that committee is relatively new, but has been very active and has really enhanced our awareness as a department overall to promote equity at many, many levels and provide better care for our patients. At Stony Brook, you will select a faculty advisor and a research mentor. All of our residents become really close with their advisor and get together with them outside of work. And then the faculty research mentor guides you through your scholarly activity, which all of our residents complete. Our faculty also have an open door policy, including me. As soon as you come, you'll get my cell phone number. You'll come to my house. You'll get to know my kids. And our associate program director chiefs, everyone will be really a great resource for you to help guide you through residency. We also, as I mentioned before, participate in scholarship, and our residents wanted you to know that many of them get to present their work nationally or even internationally. We are on academic campus with a medical school, lots of other health training. So we have nurse training, nurse practitioner training. We have OT, PT schools. We have many different schools on the campus. And honestly, our residents do get to interact with all these other campus activities. And in addition, we have a residents as teachers retreat, which is coming up soon, so it's on my mind. And if you like outdoors, well, this is the place. Beaches, kayaking, vineyards, anything you could think of, we have here. So I hope you choose to join us here at Stony Brook, or at least come to interview and see what we have to offer. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Blair, for letting us know all about it. And the next program of the evening is BronxCare Health System. I would request your program representative to please unmute yourself and tell us all about it. The floor is yours.
Hi, can everyone hear me? Okay. My name is Molly Broder. I am the incoming program director at BronxCare Health System. As per our name, we are in the Bronx. So the Bronx is the northernmost of the 5 boroughs of New York City. We're actually the only borough of New York City that is on mainland. The rest of them are all on various different islands. And it's a fantastic place to train. I did all of my training after residency and my career in the Bronx. And it's really a vibrant community full of a variety of different populations. And so, like many of my other colleagues who have already spoken and will speak after me as well, you're going to see a great variety of patients in terms of where they are coming from, the language that they're speaking, as well as the pathologies that they are presenting with, both medical and social. The hospital is located in actually one of the poorest congressional districts in the United States. And so during your training, you're certainly going to be focusing on managing patients as a whole, not just their medical issues, but working a lot with their social issues that they have as well. Other things to know about our hospital: we are a community-based hospital, university affiliated, so you'll do most of your rotations with us in the Bronx, but there's a few rotations that you'll do at our university affiliate, which is in one of the other boroughs down in Manhattan. But you'll be rotating through our NICU. You'll do all of your most of your subspecialty rotations with us in the Bronx at our hospital, and then you can choose other rotations to do at some of the other hospitals. Other things that are fantastic about the program: we have our residents are also coming from a variety of different places, and things that they've asked me to highlight is if their favorite thing about the program is really the camaraderie that they develop between themselves and the relationships that they get to build over the 3 years with them, and then also with the faculty. It's a really close-knit group coming together from a lot of different places, but really bonding. Different things that we focus on in our curriculum over the 3 years. We have a residency wellness curriculum that is quite robust. It kind of changed the way it looked during COVID and is now coming back to what it was before in terms of some of the in-person things that we're doing both during the day on campus, and then arrange, for nights or weekends and retreats off campus and the like. There's a really nice curriculum on cultural humility and learning about interacting with different groups of people, whether they're the patients you're taking care of or the patients that you're working with, that we start with our interns as well, so they can really begin to understand the population of the Bronx that they're going to be caring for during their residency. We have a QI curriculum that all of our residents will participate in, and they will all participate in various different projects throughout their 3 years. And many of our residents will, in fact, present their projects at various different regional and national meetings as well, in whatever they are working on. Our residents go into a variety of different things after they graduate. Most of them, about 2/3 or so, will go into different primary care specialties, but 1/3 of them do go into subspecialties and will match into fantastic programs all throughout the country. A couple of other things that are really fun in terms of the things that we organize for them and they organize for themselves is we have an international luncheon that happens every year, the week of Thanksgiving, actually, where everyone gets to bring in their favorite food from wherever they grew up. So that's residents and attendings alike. It's just another way for all of us to get to know each other and the things that make us special. We have a house cup system, and so the residency is broken up into 4 different teams. So there's some friendly competition that takes place all year round, and a lot of that, some of that is based off wellness activities. Other that is based off of activities like quizzes and attending lectures and things like that as well. The department-wide social events are coming back into play now that COVID has kind of progressed into where it is now. In terms of living in New York City, it's really nice because you've got a lot of opportunities on places that you want to live, just depending on how far you want your commute to be. Many of our residents will live within the 5 boroughs, either right around the hospital or down in Manhattan. It's really accessible by subway. Also by car. We have other residents who prefer a more suburban lifestyle, and so they will live in other parts of the city that might be a little bit more suburban, or over in Jersey or up in lower Westchester kind of areas too. I will leave it at that. Thank you very much.
Still didn't have 30 seconds, but again, thank you so much, Dr. Broder, for walking us through what your program holds for us. We would like to take a brief pause to let attendees trickle into the room. Thank you so much. And the next program of the evening is SVH Health System Pediatrics. I would request your coordinator or your program representative to please unmute themselves and talk to us about your program. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm Miguel Sanchez. I'm the program director at SVH Health System, also known as St. Barnabas Hospital in the Bronx. I just want to mention Carla Sims. Miss Carla Sims, she's my right hand, my program coordinator, and my left hand is Dr. Alexandra Gonzalez, that she's also connected here. She's my APD. So both of us, Dr. Gonzalez and myself, we train at St. Barnabas Hospital. So we know the program very well from a resident point of view and also from an administrative point of view. We are a community-based hospital. We're a small-sized program. We have 6 residents per year and 1 chief. So a lot of our residents identify our hospital to be family-oriented. Since day one, everyone gets along very well within each other. And they form like a small family as a resident. That's something that I lived when I was a resident. Now as a program director, I do see that close relationship that they have. We have approximately in the entire hospital 400 outpatient visits per year. I will say that pediatrics only visits is above 65,000 per year. And we do support our residents for research projects, or all of our residents will submit their research projects to PAS, ESPR. We as well support our residents to perform QA projects. And mostly we focus on primary care, pulmonary diseases, ID, trauma, cardiology. I will add it to that list. Something important about our program is that our residents are part of CIR, which is the Council of Interns and Residents. And as everyone has mentioned before me, wellness is something important. And we strongly believe in wellness. We don't only participate on the wellness activities of our hospital, but actually Dr. Gonzalez, my APD, 3 years ago, she created the wellness committee for pediatrics only. So you could be in the middle of the day, working in the inpatient unit, and you might have 1 hour of protective time to perform a wellness activity. So we strongly believe on our residents' well-being. Regarding our curriculum, We have block scheduling, 13 blocks per year. So an initiative that we created a couple of years ago was a monthly board-like exam. So every month our residents will take a board-like exam. And within 2 weeks, we will review the exam with all the class. In addition, our junior and senior residents receive leadership and teaching training to lead their respective teams, especially the upcoming interns and the medical students, since we're affiliated with CUNY School of Medicine. As a community hospital and as a community program, we also have strong alliances with 2 main hospitals in New York, which is Memorial Sloan Kettering and Children's Hospital in Montefiore. So some of the selective rotations will be done there. We do sponsor visas, J1 and H1B visas. I don't know why it says F1 visas. That's a mistake. But we do sponsor J1s and H1B. Since we're a community-based hospital, we have a strong relationship with our community and our patients. As Molly mentioned, the Bronx is beautiful. I lived in the Bronx for 5 years, but the hospital is located in a zip code that is considered an underserved area. So part of being a pediatrician, and that's what we believe, is taking care of the patients as an entire whole, and not only on their medical conditions, but also on their social conditions. So that's why we participate in community-based fairs or health fairs, school mental health services, donor drives, and we have a strong alliances with Make-A-Wish, Project EAT, and the Family Health Challenge that our residents really like and appreciate having that time off to participate with the community. Finally, the location, I think Molly took some of the words that I wanted to share about the Bronx, but since I've lived here for 5 years, it was a great experience. I lived walking distance from the hospital. The hospital is located in Little Italy of the Bronx, and most of our residents live around the area. Finally, I wanna mention my program in 3 words: diversity. Why? Not only because of the community, but also residents, attendings from all over the world. Wellness, as I mentioned to you, we strongly believe in well-being of our residents, and community-oriented, as I mentioned before, we strongly believe that we should take care of our patients as a whole. If you want to know more a little bit about my program, Barnabas Peds, that's the Instagram account, and that's managed by our residents. I don't have nothing to do. I don't have an Instagram. They are the ones uploading all the information there. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Sanchez. This was very insightful. And the next program of the evening is Albany Medical Center. I would request your program representative to please unmute themselves and talk about your program.
Hi, everyone. I'm Caitlin Daly. I'm the program coordinator for the Pediatric Residency program at Albany Medical Center. To give a brief intro, we're a 125-bed children's hospital. We're responsible for over 700,000 children, and we're the only tertiary care center and the #1 center for the care of complex and chronically ill children in the 25 counties of Eastern New York, and also a little bit of Southwest region of New England. We have 11 residents per year and 4 med-peds residents per year, but we also work closely with our EMed, psych, anesthesia, and family med resident colleagues, and we have 2 NICU fellows. Our schedule still runs on a 13-block, 4-week schedule. Beyond our required curriculum, we have lots of opportunity for individualized experiences. I really enjoy seeing what the residents come up with every year for individualized curriculum, because we, of course, if there's something that they can't find that they're interested in, or if they've exhausted their elective opportunities, we do open the door for them to present what they would like to do. I've seen some really cool, like, building curriculum, individualized experiences, so we love when they come to us with their ideas. The experience that we probably get questions about the most is our Peds Star block. It's a 4-week free from service research and advocacy block, where the interns get to work together to learn about advocacy project development, research design and publication, and then quality improvement and patient safety initiatives. Our curriculum offerings also include ultrasound, LGBTQ+ curriculum, NICU boot camp, and a really cool resident mock code STEAM. As far as other didactic offers, we've added in an academic half day this past year. That was in response to some resident feedback. So they get one senior and one intern academic half day per block. So they split into 2 groups. And with that, they also get a dedicated workshop, which could be a vet workshop, lumbar punctures, sutures, things like that. We do a really cool intro to your resources where they get to meet child life. And then we just also added this year a PHM lecture series. We just filled out our full complement of pediatric hospitalist staff this year. So they're all very excited to revamp our curriculum. And so we're really looking forward to that. Pivoting slightly to actual life in Albany, you get the shared experience of both living in the city and in the Adirondacks, which is lovely. We're about 2 hours north of New York City, but also south of Montreal. So it's a good space to be in if you want to get away for a quick weekend. Also about 3 hours away from Boston. We have some really cool wellness initiatives in our program. We have our own wellness council that organizes get-togethers like barbecues. We just had a big roller skating outing this weekend. We're actually home to the largest roller skating rink in the United States. We do hiking, apple picking, and our interns just started a recent tradition of all going out to the movies together. So yes, they did participate in the Barbenheimer weekend this month. They had a good time. Additionally, our chief residents also organize a once a block, go out to the bar, go out to a restaurant together. And then I host a once a block breakfast for everyone to come and relax before they go off to their clinical duties for the day. So that was a lot. So you can also always find us on Instagram at AMC Peds. And then we actually don't have a resident with us tonight, but they're going to be hosting their own virtual open house on August 30th. And information on how to sign up will be posted to our website and on our Instagram later this week.
Thank you so much for walking us through what Albany holds for us. And we'd like to just give a couple of seconds for other attendees to jump around breakout rooms. Thank you so much. And the next program of the evening is New York University. And I would request your representative to please unmute themselves and talk about your program.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for having us. My name is Heather Howell. I'm the program director at NYU. Also featured there's one of our coordinators. We have 2, Christina Paquis and Claudia Torres, and 3 associate program directors. So a really amazing team. To tell you a little bit about our program, so NYU is located in the heart of New York City. We're in the east side of Manhattan, and we care for patients from all 5 boroughs and Long Island and New Jersey. And we have a fairly unique setup in that our residents split their clinical time 50-50 between 2 hospitals. So 50% of the time is spent at Bellevue Hospital, which is the oldest public hospital in the United States, has an impressive history. It's the largest public hospital in New York City, and it's the main hub for the extensive public hospital system. Bellevue has always been a safety net hospital caring for the city's medically underserved population. And our residents do many different rotations there, inpatient, emergency room, but then all of their continuity clinic is at Bellevue. So they're all there together caring for those patients. The other 50% of the time is spent at Hassenfeld Children's Hospital at NYU Langone. The Children's Hospital opened in 2018, so we've been there a few years now, definitely have settled in, have had a large increase in our patient volume since opening that, which has been really exciting for us. The residents do ICU rotations, acute care units, emergency room time, and NYU tends to take care of some very medically complex patients, a lot of subspecialty care, really great exposure to medical, surgical subspecialties, things like transplant, ECMO patients, things like that. In terms of our schedule, so we were one of the initial pediatric residencies to pilot immersion scheduling. So we have now been doing it for 6 years. That's like all our residents know, and they absolutely love it. It works very well for us. Our curriculum, we have morning conferences every day, and then we also have academic half days, and that's on Fridays. It's 3 hours of protected time for the residents, which has allowed us to be a little bit more creative in how we do our learning and our teaching, but also has created a ton of camaraderie and community building within our program, which has been really wonderful. The residents tend to kind of hang out after academic half day on Friday and go out and do things in the city. Diversity is very important to our program and our department. We have very active diversity and inclusion committee, the branches that are listed. We have community outreach, a lot of mentorship of students, both undergrad and medical students, and we partner a lot with the School of Medicine on many initiatives, and a really robust anti-racism curriculum and health equity curriculum that's been spearheaded by one of our associate program directors over the past few years. We do, in terms of visas, it also says, is a little bit of a typo there, we do accept J1 visas only. And then just, I know my time is limited, so I just wanted to end by saying that I think the main reasons that people want to come train at NYU is the residents themselves. You're going to get to meet some of them here shortly. They're just an amazing group of individuals. They're hardworking and caring and smart and genuinely love being pediatricians. It's a real culture of camaraderie and support, and I always feel lucky to work with them. They make my job so fun. I get asked often, what am I most proud of? And I know some of the other PDs have talked about that. I think for me, it's looking at graduation, how different each of the graduates are, that I think to come through our program and they have sort of unique experiences and, you know, sort of find their passions within pediatrics and take advantage of all the opportunity to pursue those. So I hope you will take time to get to know our program better. I know there it shows our Instagram handle, also run only by our by our residents. So please follow us and look at our website, and then ask our residents questions tonight. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Howell. That was very insightful as to what New York University holds for all of us future pediatricians. And with that, it concludes the program overview portion of the evening. And now we will be opening up the floor to a live Q&A. If anybody prefers to remain anonymous, please feel free to send me a personal message and I will address your question to the program representatives. I see a question coming in. How are residents mentored and supported to pursue their post-residency goals?
You might hear some similar things and different things at each institution. I think there are several things that I can talk about at our program. So when you come in, you get both assigned a faculty mentor as well as a peer mentor, which is typically a resident in the year above you. But then there's multiple mentorship that happens along the way. So you have a program director or an associate program director that follows you throughout your training. You can probably guess I'm a primary care pediatrician, and so continuity I think is important. And so they follow you throughout your career. If you are in one of our tracks, especially if it's a project-based track, but even our clinical-based tracks, there's a clear, obvious mentor in those pieces. In your QI work, you have a mentor. And then in addition, right, part of what your program director or associate program director does is they help connect you based on what are the things that you care about. And so it's really thinking about mentorship across the spectrum of your career track, the projects that you're interested in, specific skills if that's what you need, and also thinking about just in general your life work, and I'll put imbalance. There's no such thing as life work balance. So your life work imbalance, but what is the right imbalance for you? So it's kind of multi-pronged.
We're kind of similar in that we sign like academic advisors when they first start as interns, and we have a core group of people who are just like great advisors, and they kind of stick with the resident the whole 3 years and is really just there to kind of support them through residency. And then during their second year, they identify a career mentor, and that person is in the field they're going to go into, and the job is a little bit different. It's really kind of thinking ahead about like, what kind of projects do you want to get involved in to kind of help set you up? What electives should you be doing? What experiences? And then like thinking about either fellowship application or job application. And that person really helps with that.
We have something very similar to you guys. The advisors, mentors, but we also have a yearly career day. So depending upon where you are in your trajectory for, decision making in terms of what you want to go into, or you're not sure, it's fun that you get to attend a bunch of different sessions, maybe drop into the room to learn about what life is like as a PICU attending, or how to get into a fellowship, what salary you're making, what's the, work life kind of setup. And we also have, career discussions with your advisor, where you fill out a document, kind of try to figure out some help in deciding where you might want to see yourself if you're unsure. So, I think many of us have very similar things, but we might achieve them a little bit differently.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Another question that's coming in is, what are the benefits of a community versus an academic program?
I think it's a little hard to say, like there's two sides of a coin. I think in academic programs, you're oftentimes exposed to many different subspecialists, and you will take care of, especially on the inpatient unit, a lot of different subspecialist patients. So there may be dedicated GI teams or hem-onc teams or cardiology teams or things like that. And you're also getting referrals from other community hospitals. In community programs, I think there's oftentimes a lot of outpatient exposure to all of those same things. And so you're really getting to see how those subspecialties are practiced outpatient and maybe inpatient as well. And as someone mentioned, they were talking about too, you're also learning on caring for the patient without perhaps all of those consults readily at your fingertips. And so you can be the first provider for many of these patients and figure out, okay, what is it that we can manage here? What is it that we need to send somewhere else where they might have some different resources?
I have a question. Can I ask on live, or do I need to message someone to ask a question?
No, please go ahead. Please feel free to go ahead.
Good. Okay. I wanted to ask, I had a question for Dr. Heather. I really like the camaraderie fact that she mentioned in her program. And I wanted to ask, how does the program foster a sense of camaraderie and collaboration among residents? Like, how does the program itself for you foster that?
Yeah, I think probably many of our programs do it similarly. Retreats throughout the year, we do them each class. We also do a lot of cross-class activities. And I think for us, academic half day really has helped to fuel that. Like it was sort of not an unexpected byproduct, one we had hoped for and turned out to be true when we've been in an academic half day for about 5 years, and sort of having everybody together every week for a few hours. And then they do tend to like hang out after. So I think that's kind of helped to breed that sense of community. So I think it just kind of happens naturally that way.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And so my next question is for like any program director, basically. So like with artificial intelligence coming in and like, innovative technology coming in, how would you say that the program integrates that, like newer models of artificial intelligence or like technology and innovative teaching methods into the curriculum?
Pediatricians are such a great group. We all want to give each other a chance to talk, especially if one of the PDs hasn't talked out loud. I'm happy to defer.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to know how AI is, like, if you have plans to integrate AI into the curriculum or the thing. So it's an open question to everybody. So
I'll briefly talk.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Molly.
Oh no, I was going to say, I think I don't know that we've quite all figured it out yet as it's being developed. I think it provides some really exciting opportunities for simulation, and kind of being able to put yourself in a scenario and see how you're going to deal with that scenario. So whether it's a medical, like you're dealing with a case and you're trying to figure out how to resuscitate a patient, or it could be you're trying to deliver a difficult diagnosis and you need to practice that. So I think it's going to provide us with some exciting opportunities for that. That's all I've thought about it in terms of how we might incorporate it, though.
No. As long as like programs are open to like inculcating that as newer methods come in, because I have a feeling this is going to accelerate. We're just starting off on AI now, but with years it's everywhere. Everybody's using it all the time for every single thing. So I was wondering if like healthcare systems have started inculcating that, or where it's at. So thank you. Yeah. Does any other PD have something to say about like artificial intelligence and technology, or?
I know at Stony Brook, they definitely use AI to identify factors in patient charts for disease risk. So that's a bit different than what you're talking about. Just like everybody else, I don't really know how else we're going to use it to teach. But as you said, things are moving so quickly. I'm sure it'll be integrated, but at least for patient care and identification, early warning signs. And you can read lots of articles that have been published in PEDS journals recently about that. So there's definitely work being done there, just in pediatrics in general, but also at our institution.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, I took a very recent course at Stanford about evaluations of AI in healthcare, which is where they were talking about models about developing and inculcating it, and how, like, in radiology, CT scans can be read more accurately. You can counter like human fatigue and all of that stuff. So I was like, oh, this is a question I need to ask. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much for answering so well. There's another question in the chat. For programs that have an advocacy track, could any of the PDs go into what the track specifically entails?
Started typing and it's just easier to say. So our tracks are really something you elect for your second and third year. And so the advocacy track starts with a 2-week rotation, which is fondly known as the mini MPH, to kind of kick off your project. It is a project-based track, so part of the work of that is talking with stakeholders, collaborating with a community-based organization, and really thinking about how to make sustainable projects. But it really is targeted to whatever your particular passion is. So sometimes residents have a similar passion and they work together on projects, and sometimes you have something that you're interested in, nobody else's, and that's okay. It really is a choose your own adventure part of the program. And so you choose what advocacy area you're interested in. And then you have mentors and community-based organizations who are doing work on the ground every day around those areas to kind of help make your project be one that can be implemented in the community.
Thank you so much. There's another question. How to use hometowns versus regional preferences to our advantage? Also, if an applicant is not from the area, how can we differentiate ourselves?
So I think the Mid-Atlantic region is very broad. And so when you put preference towards Mid-Atlantic region, I personally, as a person looking at a lot of applications, find that it's helpful if you say, and I'm really interested in this particular area because of XYZ, and then kind of specify more, because this is the New York region, but even, being in New York City is very different from being in Buffalo, from being in Albany, from being, when you're talking about the Aris regions in Baltimore, I guess theoretically, if you're in California, that covers one state, but where we are, it covers a lot of states. So I think if you have additional preferences and you really are interested in a particular area, there's a little comment part, and you can write that comment in, and we'll take a look at it, and that can be really helpful. I think other ways to kind of set yourself apart or let a program know that you're interested, I think, are some of the other things that you include in your application, right? So like kind of the things that have been really most meaningful to you in terms of the training that you've done or whatever the experiences are. If you're particularly interested in a program or a region for a certain area, you can put it in your personal statement. If you really want to be somewhere because your significant other is also in that place or your family, like you can personalize your personal statements as well.
For me, it's also important to know if they're interested, in large programs, smaller programs, because there's people that will know that they perform better in a more personalized learning. And since we're a small program, we can offer that. But if residents want to be, in huge children's hospitals, probably that's something that I'm not going to be able to offer. So I think that's super important for us to look either on the personal statement or on meaningful experiences. That's super important.
I agree with all that, guys. I think the hometown thing you mentioned in the beginning, I don't think is as critical. Sometimes I get people that put like 5, 6, 7 hometowns wherever they've been throughout their time so far. It's always a little exciting if I see someone who had a hometown on Long Island or close by. But that doesn't mean that we won't, offer interviews to those of you who, don't indicate something like that at all. So don't worry about that. But similar for us, if you you want to be in an inner city, we are not in an inner city, but sometimes, I've interviewed plenty of people who've said urban area and that's not what they meant, or they didn't know which choice to pick. So I wouldn't really stress about it too much. Put as much detail as you feel comfortable sharing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. We are sadly approaching the end of our program overview portion of the evening and have time for one last question.
I'm just going to put it out there. This is not a question, but I actually find these sessions really exciting too, just because I hope you guys realize like there's so many fantastic programs out there and they all are a little bit different. And no matter where you end up, you're going to be a great pediatrician. There's just a lot of different pathways to go there. And I'm always so inspired by any of these meetings about seeing what my colleagues are doing and how everybody is training their pediatricians. So it's fun for us to be at these sessions too, just to see what everybody else is doing and what we can bring back to our home institutions.
So do we, Dr. Broder. These sessions have been very, very insightful, and it's so exciting to know what the future holds for all of us. It's been amazing, honestly, and we are so thankful for all of y'all that you take out time from your hectic schedules to be there for us future applicants. It's amazing, honestly. I am getting one last question, and it is that what do you look for when you are selecting residents for your programs?
I think it kind of echoes what like Molly and Mikkel said. It's like it's finding the right fit, right? Like I think all these programs are fantastic and they're all unique, and like we're trying to hopefully share with each of you like what makes them different, and so that you can think about for you what's going to be the best fit. So I think that's like we're looking for people that fit sort of what we know are like the strengths of our program, and like people that typically succeed, and like so that's kind of what we're looking for in the applications. At least that's what I'm looking for.
To attendees to trickle in, I like to remind program representatives to please add your institution or program affiliation to your Zoom display name. Attendees, please take a moment to pull out your phones and snap a picture of your screen if you have not done so already. This will allow you to easily refer back to bouncing around the breakout rooms. This slide will also remain shared in the main breakout room during the entire webinar. I'd also like to refer to our attendings some guidance with navigating between breakout rooms. To join a different breakout room, select breakout room and then join, and the breakout room of your choice. To return to the main room, select leave room and then leave breakout room. I want to confirm that this is being recorded and we can start. Okay. So welcome everyone to room 3. My name is Denise Moncada. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm Assistant Director of Webinars I'm an international medical graduate from Ecuador. And I would also like to introduce our FPR, Cassandra Pinedo, an Assistant Director of Webinars, working hard behind the scenes tonight. And Kiana Heredia, an Associate Director of Equity, who will be the moderator of the live Q&A. I would like to invite our program representative to give a short presentation of the program for 5 minutes for the first part of the evening, and then we will take questions after all of the presentations are done. Attendees, you can, however, leave your questions in the chat as we go. We also encourage programs to make use of the chat to answer any questions if they can, in the case we can run out of time. To ensure that all programs are adequately represented, each presentation is limited to 5 minutes. When you hear my timer go off, I'm going to show you if you can hear this. That will signify that you have 30 seconds remaining. So our first program for the evening is Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. I would like to invite your representative to unmute and tell us about your program.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Leora Mogilner, and I am one of the Associate Program Directors of the Mount Sinai Icahn School of Medicine Pediatric Residency, and I am joined tonight by one of our future rising chief residents, Rachel Wilkinson. So just to give you in a few minutes some information about our program, which I'm very excited to tell you about. We pride ourselves at Mount Sinai of having a really amazing mix of both primary care and specialty care training for all learners. So we have a very, very robust clinic experience for all of our residents, but we also have access to pretty much any subspecialty imaginable. And having access to both the robust primary care and subspecialty in our minds really makes your training ideal. In addition, our location, which is located right in between, sandwiched between the Upper East Side of Manhattan and East Harlem, ensures that we have an extremely diverse patient population. So while the majority of our clinic patients come from East Harlem and the Bronx, we do have patients from all 5 boroughs, Westchester, New Jersey, and our inpatient population draws from all of these neighborhoods as well, ensuring that we have an extremely diverse patient population and a variety of clinical cases and scenarios for our residents to learn about, and a variety of patients for us to treat and to interact with on a daily basis. Just a couple of highlights that I'd love to share with you before I turn it over to Rachel. We really focus on having amazing opportunities for professional development for our residents throughout all 3 years of residency. And that could include things like research, mentored projects. There are different opportunities for residents to apply for funding for their research projects. We also really promote different medical education initiatives for our residents. We also have many opportunities to engage with community partners and either work on projects together or learn more about the community partners that we work so closely with. Just to give a little shout out to our advocacy and community pediatrics training, we have both longitudinal and block experiences available to our residents. Residents have the opportunity during their block to create a mentored project. They also have the opportunity for longitudinal projects throughout all 3 years of training. And I think the community experience and the advocacy opportunities available to our residents are really some of the highlights of the training. We really pride ourselves on being flexible. And I think resident wellness and support, which you'll hear about from Rachel, are really a highlight of our program. Our program is flexible. We try to listen to our residents and adjust to their feedback. And I'm going to turn it over to Rachel so she can talk a little bit about that.
Thank you, Dr. McGillner. So my name is Rachel. I'm a 3rd-year resident and a rising chief at Sinai. There are so many things I could say about this program because I really, really love it here and have benefited so much from my training, but I wanted to highlight some of the aspects of the culture because when I was interviewing, I remember feeling like it felt almost impossible to get a sense of a program's culture from Zoom. And so I wanted to give you guys some specific examples of the things that I think make Sinai culture such a lovely place to learn. So like Dr. McGillner said, we're a really flexible program, and I've really benefited from being able to sort of tailor my training to the things that I'm most interested in, most passionate about. So in our elective time, you have, of course, the choice of all the different subspecialties. You can do your electives in cardiology or gastroenterology or infectious disease, but you can also do tailor-made electives. Like I'm doing a breastfeeding elective this year. I'm going into NICU, so I'm doing a procedure elective so I can strengthen my procedural skills. And having a curriculum that gives you that flexibility, I think is really helpful, making sure that you're getting both a strong foundation across the board, but also specific experiences, the things that you know you want to get into. I've also found Sinai to be a place that's very much focused and rooted in social justice and very committed to diversity, both in the residency class and among the faculty. And I think that being at a place where you can bring things into the conversation, whether it's on rounds or in your academic time, around how do we incorporate anti-racism into our care of this patient? How do we make our hospital more LGBTQ friendly? Those are the sort of conversations that I think some of my friends in other residencies have sometimes had trouble bringing up, and it's really always at the forefront at Cornell. And I hear the bell giving me my timer, but those are some of the things I just wanted to sort of highlight, because this program has, to me, been such an incredible place to learn and to grow, both as a doctor and also as a human being. And I'm excited to talk to you guys more.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Malinder and Dr. Wilson, for sharing such an insightful presentation of your program. We would like to give a couple of seconds for attendees that are joining in a breakout room. And we would like to invite the Cohen Children's Medical Center representative to unmute and present their program.
Hi again. Again, Steve Rowan. I'm the program director of Cohen Children's, and I've been program director for the last 18 years. And we're located in Queens County. So that's one of those counties that are on geographic Long Island, but part of New York City. They're a little bit confused. And Queens, by definition, by number of languages spoken, is the most diverse county in the United States, if not the world. So again, one of the highlights of our program is diversity of patients you will see. And it is now currently the largest children's hospital in New York State, both in inpatient and outpatient care. I like to refer to our nurses. We have Magnet Award-winning nurses. For those who know what Magnet Award-winning nurses, that's the highest award you can get for nursing. And there are only 15 children's hospitals, I think, in the United States that have Magnet Award-winning nurses for pediatrics. We have a level 1 trauma center, the only helicopter transport service in the New York metro area. So not only do we gather our patients from Queens proper, but we gather our patients from a lot of the tri-state area when they need care that can only be provided at a quaternary children's hospital. We really want to give you the 4 legs of the stool, which I consider clinical skills, research skills, teaching skills, and advocacy, because that's what you need to be leaders. So we really have a strong research component to our program. Last year, 30 residents presented at national meetings, so we walked the walk. We have all subspecialties represented. We have fellowships in all subspecialties, and we have a number of pathways in which you can have career development, critical care, general peds, global health. We have an enhanced pathway for those interested in working in community medicine. We have a hospitalist pathway, and we're about to start a health equity and diversity pathway, which also includes courses at Hofstra University. We have one of the largest simulation centers in the United States. We do a lot of simulation training. We are fairly large. We have 100 residents, as I mentioned. So in order to be comfortable with our program, you have to be comfortable in a large children's hospital, right? Some of our diversity initiatives, we have a mentor program for URM residents. This is a program where we mentor you for your future career goals. We take you out to dinner. This is with fellows, faculty, and residents, and we have different programs each month. We have funding for 4th-year students, URM students, to rotate to us, and we have individual curriculum for our underrepresented residents. The location, like I said, Queens, you know, if you have a partner that wants to live in New York City, it's 21 miles to First Avenue, so easily reverse commute. Similarly, we have residents or partners in Stony Brook, which is towards the end of the island. And again, you can live somewhere in between and have a 20-minute commute. So a lot of ability to live. We have beautiful beaches, beautiful parks. We have horrible traffic, so I won't lie to you about that. We have on-campus housing if you choose. Some of our residents choose to live on campus, but some choose to live even in New York City. Again, a reverse commute isn't so bad. So I think I'll give up my time back, but I'm happy to answer any questions at the end. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Burrell. We appreciate your detailed presentation of your program. We will have a brief pause to allow attendees to join rooms. And we can come up next is New York Presbyterian Weill Cornell. The floor is all yours.
Good evening. So just wanted as way for orientation. So New York Presbyterian actually has a number of residency programs at different campuses associated with different institutions. And so I am Melanie Wilson-Taylor, the program director at the Weill Cornell Medicine Pediatrics program. And I wanted to highlight this evening a number of things, and you'll probably see a number of themes, especially because New York is so diverse, but really thinking a lot about how we can offer our trainees a wide and expansive experience. So we are located on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, which can come with a number of, as far as the demographics of the community that we serve is not necessarily representative of the area that we are currently located. Our patients come from all 5 boroughs and nearby states, including New Jersey and Connecticut. And so we really actually do have a pretty diverse patient population that come from a wide variety of socioeconomic populations, as well as ethnic and racial diversity. Our mission certainly is to provide services to underrepresented populations, and so our residents rotate through a number of hospitals. I think one of the advantages of our institution, residents spend a lot of time both at the Cornell campus, but also at New York Presbyterian Queens, which is more of a local community setting in Flushing. Also a very, very diverse population, and probably the most diverse in the country as far as languages spoken and populations that we serve there. Our residents also rotate through the Hospital for Special Surgery, which has orthopedic and rheumatological conditions, as well as Memorial Sloan Kettering for oncological care. And we do have a level 4 NICU, a neonatal intensive care unit. As you've heard from some of the other institutions, we do have a wide variety of subspecialties, pretty much all that have been listed, where our residents have individualized curriculum. And as a result, we really do tailor their education for their specific interests, those who are going into primary care versus fellowships. We provide professional development and a rigorous advising system that help our residents become excellent clinicians, as well as educators and investigators. Our program does have a requirement for scholarly activity, and many of our residents will choose a clinical research project, but often they do have a passion in community and advocacy, and will also focus their efforts on quality improvement as well. Our program does have a physician scientist training program, which is the only official track that we have set aside for those who are interested in a pathway into research. But we do have a number of electives for health equity research, mental health, a global health initiative to Tanzania, as well as telehealth electives as well. And so those individualized curriculum, I think, is one of the highlights for our program. We do have 2 residents on with us. I'll introduce them in just a second, who will talk a little bit about their experiences as well. I will say that the diversity initiatives that we do have certainly include community engagement. Even though, as I mentioned before, we're on the Upper East Side, a lot of our partners are in Harlem as well as Long Island City. And we do have a number of pipeline programs as well as visiting elective students from underrepresented backgrounds. I'm going to probably turn it over to our chief residents in the interest of time. So I have Taylor Jackvoni as well as Dana Green. We'll just say a couple of words about their experiences as well. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dana. I'm one of the chief residents. Really just want to highlight one of the really unique parts of our program is that we visit so many clinical sites. So in addition to our main campus at Cornell, we do spend inpatient service time at both New York Presbyterian Queens and Flushing, Memorial Sloan Kettering, and the Hospital for Special Surgery. So in addition to seeing very different patient populations in each site, we also have different leadership opportunities at each of them. So all along your different levels of training with graduated autonomy, you do spend different types of experiences at each site. And in addition to our inpatient time, which is spent across these many different hospitals, we also offer many different continuity clinic sites across different communities that help really diversify our experiences.
And I know we're out of time, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Taylor Wilson, and thank you, Dr. Green. We appreciate the in-depth insights that you have shared about your program. Now, let's direct our attention to our next program, Westchester Medical Center.
Hi, folks. Am I visible? Okay, I didn't test my camera, so I don't know if my face is on the screen. So, hi, everybody. My name is Matt Kapklein. I am the program director at Maria Ferrari Children's Hospital, Westchester Medical Center. It is very difficult for me to talk about our program in 5 minutes or less. I usually spend about an hour talking about it on interview days. So I'm gonna leave you guys to look at the stuff that's on the slide. If you want to take a picture of it or visit our website, that's what I recommend. I'll start by saying, we have all the things. We have full subspecialty representation. We are a bona fide children's hospital, over 100 beds. We have, we do cardiac surgery, we do ECMO, we do trauma, we do transport. I do consider us, Steve, as being in the New York metro area, and we do helicopter transport. But we are not in the 5 boroughs. We're just north of New York City. I would say that the philosophy of our program is one of resident-directed education. We give our residents as much autonomy as we possibly can in designing their educational experiences. Your individual blocks are defined by you. But, we have all the stuff that residency programs have. We have a robust inpatient experience. We're on the campus of New York Medical College, so we work with medical students. We have multiple continuity clinic sites ranging from federally qualified community health centers to private practices, and residents get to pick their sites. But what I really want to spend the bulk of my time on is just talking about the culture of our program. I would say that the 3 defining characteristics of our program are mutual support, ownership, and joy. In no particular order. My residents really look out for each other. They work hard together. They bond hard together. They spend time with each other outside of work, which I think is great. They advocate for their patients. They advocate for themselves. They advocate for the program. They advocate for the community. And they make me proud every day. I think our reputation is one of a hardworking program, and I own that. We historically have been a 24-hour call program, but we are experimenting this year with shift scheduling and getting feedback from the residents on it. I would say that, I wish I could promise you what kind of model we're going to have next year, but I don't know yet because we are really going to let the residents decide, and it's possible that we'll end up having a hybrid of some kind. And joy. I learned most of what I needed to know about residency at during my time as a resident at Mount Sinai, where Leora Mogilner, who spoke with you earlier, and I were in the same residency class. You know, I would say a lot of what I know and love about residency, I learned there. And I think one of the most important things I learned from our program director was how important it is to enjoy what you do, and to find the meaning and gratification where you can in what is often a very stressful job. Lastly, I want to put in a plug for our location. We are a best of both worlds location. We are close enough to New York City that our residents can take advantage of it. And I'd say about a third of my residents live in New York City and have that reverse commute that Steve Barone was talking to you about. And the remaining 2/3 live in Westchester, and Westchester is beautiful. It's green. On campus, on the campus where I work every day, I have seen coyotes and hawks and possums and geese and little tiny baby skunks the size of baseballs, and it really is a wonderful mix of being close to the biggest, best city in the world and being able to take advantage of the natural beauty that you were hearing about in the Hudson Valley. Plenty of water stuff, plenty of things to climb, plenty of just beautiful places to walk around, and lots of cute little towns. Looks like somebody's shouting out the falls in Westchester. What else did I want to say to you? Oh, and we, you know, unlike the programs you've been hearing about so far, our patients do not primarily come from New York City. Our patients come from a very large geographic swath, going north from the Bronx and spreading almost all the way to Albany, and then out towards the west, towards Western New York. So we get, in addition to patients who live in urban environments, we get patients who live in rural environments and suburban environments. And, you know, because we're so close to New York City, and since our area has been so welcoming of refugees from other countries, we get a tremendous international diversity among our patients. And I think that we do a pretty good job of recruiting a diverse residency class as well. I will stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kaplan, for walking us through the specific of your program. Thank you. Now we'd like to continue to Children's Hospital at Montefiore.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, we're good. Okay, very good. So thank you so much. My name is Dr. Anisiki, and my first name is IJ, just like TJ. And for those of you in medical school, it is just like internal jugular, 2 letters. Very simple. Okay, so I am super excited to be here. I'm super excited to be here. I will tell you that I'm excited to represent the Children's Hospital of Montefiore, and like all the other programs that have been mentioned here, we serve a very, very diverse group of a diverse demographic as well. And so without having to sort of repeat sort of the same things that have already been said, I just want to sort of highlight the things that are special about Montefiore. The first and foremost things is that it's the spirit. The spirit that is contained with Montefiore is palpable. When people walk into this institution, they feel the energy. We are not just the talk, we are about it. So let me start off by saying, how is that the case? The first and foremost thing is that we actually are a hospital that is an academic center, but really is very rooted in the community. And what I mean by that is, for example, Montefiore can trump the largest and oldest school health program in the country. And what that means is that 1 in 4 children in the Bronx, of which we serve over 500,000 children in our catchment area, are actually housed in a Montefiore affiliated school health program. And we really sort of do the gambit and take care of that, as in addition to school health related services, but also medical services, research, advocacy, and public health. In addition to that, because of where we're located, we also serve some of the poorest congressional district in the United States. And I will repeat that when I say that. The poorest congressional district in the United States. Okay, So when we're talking about social justice, we are about it because we have to be about it. Our patient demographic demands it. So if you're about a person who really, really wants to be an agent of change, an agent of, you know, the expectations of what you can possibly see in terms of making very small changes, this is the place to be. And again, like I said, we are not just the place that talks about it. This has not been a fad. This has been a part of our fabric. One of the programs that we do trump as well is the social pediatric program that has been in existence in over 50 years at this point, founded in 1970. So when we talk about the social justice, the legislations that we do, public health, community health policy, these are things that people were talking about, but what we've been doing about well before it became something super interested, and actually very important. We are important about demanding to do more for our community when it comes to social determinants of health. As in addition to that, we have a very unique program called the LEADER program. It's called the LEADER program for the purposes of addressing leadership, engagement, diversity, and education and residency. And most recently, because of the excellence in teaching and community engagement, we just won the Academic Pediatric Association Teaching Program Award in 2022. So like I said, this may be one of those places where you're going to work hard, and that's the truth. And this may be one of those places that may not be as glamorous as the things that you may see in the city, although it's just a train away, a ride away. But it is something that you're going to feel like you have made an impact in the community. And I can tell you from someone myself, raised in New York, grew up in Texas, trained in Rhode Island, trained in New York City as well too, lived overseas and did my fellowship in ID in a huge institution in Boston. I can tell you from a place of that standpoint, I have perspective. And the perspective is you're going to get the whole gambit of a kind of patients that you would like to see, but also feel like you've made a real difference in their lives. I want to say thank you for listening to me in this moment. And I'm sure there's things that you can read on the slide there. So I didn't want to repeat most of the things that most people are saying. We're all pretty much similar. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Anisiki, for speaking with such, passion about the program, and thank you to all of the program directors for also doing the same.
Thank you for saying my name very well.
Of course. So that concludes the program overview portion of the evening. And just to reintroduce myself, my name is Kiana Heredia, and I'm serving as one of the Associate Directors of Equity for the FuturePedsRes team. And we are very, very excited to open up the floor to a live Q&A portion. And if anyone prefers to stay anonymous, you can go ahead and feel free to send me a personal message, and we'll try to address as many questions as we can within this time frame for the Q&A. And so if anyone has any questions, we can go ahead and start off with one of our pre-selected questions, which includes, what is something you wish applicants knew before they applied? And we will open this up.
Can I ask a question before we start?
Of course, yes.
Can we see each other?
Yes.
That's great. Thank you.
So to repeat the first question that we have, what is something you wish applicants knew before they applied?
I'll take that one. I wish people knew where we were because a lot of people visit us and then decide they don't want to come to us because of where we are. And, that seems like something you should know before you visit. I don't mind that people don't want to come to us because of where we are. It's something I really hope people look at a map before they decide to check us out. Because a surprising number of people say, oh, I didn't realize you weren't in New York City, or I thought you were further upstate, or something like that. Anyway, that's unique to me.
And I can jump in and answer also, taking a little bit of a different tack. And I will agree with Matt about what he said earlier about a lot about what I learned about what makes a good residency program. I learned during my residency, and I learned about what makes good residents by working with people like Matt. So little shout out there. I think one of the things, and I think Rachel maybe mentioned it before, one of the things that I would hope residents or medical students know is about how flexible we are and sort of our approach towards really listening to our residents and trying to be flexible as opposed to cookie cutter approach to schedules and to sort of the education that we're giving our residents. I think that's one thing that we pride ourselves on, and I think is a very important piece of information. The other thing I think also is just the flexible and really dedicated mentorship that we have, and we really try to meet people where they are. And if someone has specific interests or educational needs or just areas that they want to learn more about, we really try to pair them up with mentors and with advisors that can guide them. So that's that.
I'm gonna take a more general approach. I think what I want you guys to come away from is there's no best program, right? It's the best program for you, right? And you gotta get away from people whispering in your ears that this is the best, that's the best. So you all have different wants, needs, future aspirations, loved ones in different areas. So go into this search with that type of attitude and see which program you fit. It's all going to come down to fit, right? And as people talk about culture, and it's very hard to discern culture in a virtual world. So the interview is just the beginning. You have to do your homework. You have to call residents behind the scenes. You've got to find out friends, because that's the only way you're going to figure out culture. We can give you all the program directors, will give you the facts, right? The stats. But you're going to have to work. It's your job. You have to work hard to figure out that culture.
Yeah, what he said.
I agree. No, you really have to speak to people. We can tell you anything we want to say, but I think you really need to speak with residents. And if there are happy hours, either virtual or in person, I would really recommend that you talk to people and you get a sense of the culture from the residents who are there and what the vibe is. Are they warm? Are they inclusive? What's going on? I think, like I said, we can say what we want, but really speaking to people and people who've gone through the program is the best way to learn about it.
Thank you, everyone. Another question we have is, how does your program react to residents' feedback?
I think every program has their own method. We happen to have a resident senate. It's 4 elected representatives each class that meet with me and the other associate programs once a month. And it's not really a complaint session. It's more of a, how do we get together and move a program forward? We have town halls. I don't want to take up time, but that's how we do it all. I'm sure it's very similar to a lot of other places.
We have house staff forums. We also have an anonymous Google Doc where people can enter comments or topics that they want covered at house staff forum. We also have, I guess, class representatives who meet with the leadership team on an ongoing basis to kind of filter complaints or ideas. And we tend to be a very sort of, I think the leadership group is very open and approachable. So there's constant conversation going on.
I would say from us, I think this is a very important question, and a question that I think really answers the previous question, which is, what do you want residents to know and how responsive residents should be? Here at CHEM, we have had some challenges, and I think that the most important thing from our standpoint is, how do we actually truly respond to it? And I can tell you right now, amongst the many things that we have tried to do here, including with new leadership that we've injected, including that myself, but also on top of that, how do we sort of engage the residents to be involved, has spun out so many different initiatives in addition to the ones that we have on ground. And so the fact that we are able to sort of rebound from a situation that was difficult was most important to us. So what we have is, we have a residency council, we have QR code drop box or suggestion box in addition to town halls on a monthly basis. We have check-ins with our PD coaches. We have PD coaches where we talk to the residents on a regular basis. We have debriefing sessions on a regular basis as well too. And amongst a whole host of different things, but I think more importantly than anything is that the residents see us and visibility is key. So I think for our standpoint is that they know that we are there. We're not just a talk. I want to know what's going on. And I want to know what's going on at any point in time, or I don't want to know things that are going on just when things are good, but when things are troubling to them as well. So it's a gambit of things that this is a very resident-run program from us. Thank you.
I'll chime in. So yeah, we have lots of forums like the other programs described for residents to say what they want. The question was about how do we respond to what they say? Well, generally defensively and obstructively. No, one of the things that I had to learn when I became a program leader was that sometimes people just need to be heard, even if they know that whatever they're talking about doesn't necessarily have an easy fix. I tend to be a fixer, and if I encounter something that I think can be fixed, my natural response is to say, well, can't do anything about that, next. But one of the most important things I needed to learn as a program leader was to listen and to try and understand the residents' experience. I, like the other programs here, I think we consider ourselves very resident directed. We, just like the approach we're taking with call versus, 24-hour call versus shifts, where I'm not the one who's going to be doing the calls. They are, so we might as well see what they want exactly. And we try to be, I shouldn't say try to be. We are willing to experiment. We're willing to try things, a new way for a period of time, and then get feedback and see if it worked or it didn't. But I think redundancy is good to make sure that residents have multiple avenues by which they can communicate their concerns. And I'm pretty confident that all the programs you're listening to here have that. And I know all of these people, and they are all very open communicators. All right, I'll be quiet. Bye.
I'll probably just chime in to say that I think, again, I think how the response is actually one of the driving forces to what not necessarily sets our program apart, but I think continues to be one of the hallmarks of what makes it a successful program. I was a resident at Cornell decades ago at this point, but I think one of the fabrics that I think is important to me, and certainly was influential in my decision to joining the program at the time as a trainee, and then continuing as faculty and then as program directors, really that ability to have the feedback, have these open forums. And I definitely have felt that there's been multiple times throughout the years where the residents driving that really was impactful in how the educational process has happened, and really creating a safe clinical learning environment, which I think is really fundamental for trainees. But I think very similar to other programs, but I think from a personal standpoint, that was a big driving force for me as a trainee and now as faculty.
Thank you so much, everyone. Another question we had is about program tracks, and would those programs who have program tracks be able to let us know whether or not you applied to them right away, or if not, are they pathways and tracks that you can apply to later once you are in residency?
I'll start off. So I used to call them tracks, then I call them pathways, now I call them adventures. Because when you say path or tracks, people get all, I'm locked in, I'm on a train, I can't get off, oh my God, I got to pick. So I call them adventures, and you can pick our adventure. You just pick your adventure starting your second year. When you have a lot more flexibility, a lot of programs are kind of like college. Your first year is kind of like your set year, you're doing everything. In your second and third years, you have more flexibility. So that's when you enter the pathway. And we have a unique program in our institution. I think it's unique because I think the only place in the country that does it other than us is Phoenix Children's Hospital. Is we allow you to do a second half-day clinic opposite your continuity clinic. So every resident does a half day of general peds clinic and do a half day of GI or a half day of cardiology. And what really defines when you go into your pathway is what is that second half day? It's going to be global health, it's going to be advocacy, it's going to be research, it's going to be whatever. But we at Cohen, you make that decision at the beginning of the second year, but you can choose. I've studied this over 10 years, and about 20% of residents change their adventures somewhere through, because just like you change your majors in college. So that's how we do it at Cohen's.
At Mount Sinai, we have the only track that you actually apply into is the research track. So residents who are interested in pursuing the research track, which comes with additional protected time for research, would apply in for that. Although residents who do not either don't apply or don't get accepted initially, there are sometimes openings and they can apply later on. So they can apply once they're a resident. The other programs that we have, we call tracks, but you don't apply specifically into those. We have the social justice tract, we have global health. What else am I missing, Rachel? And we also have the opportunity, similar to what Dr. Barone was saying, but during the second year, residents can apply to do an additional, or instead of doing a full day outpatient PEDS clinic, they can apply to do half day in an area of their choosing. So we've had residents do adolescent medicine. If they know they're going into hem-onc or into cardiology, they can choose to do outpatient hem-onc cardiology for half a session a week as well. And they would apply into that track at the beginning of their second year. So I think I said health justice and global health, and then the dedicated longitudinal, called them like the dedicated longitudinal tracks are another opportunity that we have.
At CHAM, just very briefly, we have the categorical program, we have the social PEDS program and the research track. And so a lot of, and you sort of apply in. And a lot of folks ask if you're someone who applies for the categorical program, do you not get the full extent of the social PEDS program because they're very heavily involved in a lot of different activities? You absolutely can. The programs are very run in parallel and in fact do a lot of the same sort of coursework as well too. So we have that ability to allow for residents to sort of toggle back and forth. The research track is a little bit more structured in terms of the amount of research. So very similar to the integrated research pathway. So they have to do a lot of things there. And then global health as well too, that is built in for the entire program. Just because of the demographic that we serve, it's actually built into the categorical and social PEDS program.
Yeah, and at Cornell, the only official track we have is our physician scientist training program. We have 2 positions for that every year. We do have a PEDS neuro program, so that again you would apply into, and then 18 positions for categorical, similar to the other programs, I think, with our individualized curriculum. So again, those are not formal tracks, and they become sort of dedicated curriculum for you depending on what your interest. So even somebody on a primary care direction could have a clinical experience that's similar but not the same as another person going to primary care. So again, only 3 positions that you would apply into that are separate from the categorical at our program.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, everyone. We are approaching the end of the Q&A session very soon, so we have time for about 1 more question. And so the last question that we have is, are there any changes coming to your program that you are excited about?
I'm excited to see what happens with this 24-hour call versus shift thing. The residents are not loving the shift thing. They so far the majority of people want to go back to 24-hour calls. So that was not the reaction I was expecting, but if that happens, that's certainly going to be a big change in our program.
I'm just going to speak general as we wrap it up, I guess, as chairperson of the region. You got 5 excellent programs here, all have a little bit different philosophies, different location, different tweaks. I think they all will have changes going on to next year, right? If you just stand still, you fall backwards. So we're always looking how to, I mean, I don't look what you need to have in 2027. I'm looking at what do you need in 2040? How are we going to put AI into your curriculum, et cetera? So, and I think everyone looks at that. So I think we got to decide, is New York a place you want to be? Greater New York metro area. And then you're going to have not only the 5 programs spoke to here, but another 5 good programs you got to look at. And you'll find happiness in one of those programs. And I think that's the best way. If you're a New York bound, that's the best way to look at it.
Yeah, there's no shortage of high quality peds residency programs out there. You would do well with any program that is on this presentation tonight. Think about what you want.
And I think Matt will pay his electric bill before you get there, so you can see it. He's no longer in the dark.
Do you see the packing boxes behind me?
Also, if I can put in a plug as someone who was very recently on the other side of this, really ask the residents as much as you can about what they like about their program, what they don't like about the program. As all the PDs have said, there are so many excellent programs, and you're really just trying to find the one that's going to fit you in terms of what you want out of training and also what you want out of your life and where you want to live. And if you want to live right smack in the middle of the city and never have to drive again like me, or if you want to live in, you know, beautiful Westchester and have like coyotes and little rabbits, you know, that's not something I see a lot of in Manhattan. So just thinking about what you want and asking people really specifically what they like about where they are.
Okay, thank you so much everyone for participating and for sharing all your experiences. Hopefully everyone got a chance to learn a bit more about our Mid-Atlantic programs have to offer. We want to repeat how grateful we are to all the program directors, coordinators, and other representatives who took the time to join us tonight. We will now request our program representative to kindly log off as we transition to our resident panel portion of the evening. Thank you so much everyone for being here. Have a great night.